Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I am Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have a real superstar, rock star, the one and only Mr. Brad Leland on the show. You guys will not want to miss this one, so stay with us. And here we are. Let me bring Mr. Brad Leland on with us right now. Brad, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ken.
Hey, man.
Doing, guy?
Dude, I'm doing great, man. It's great to have you on here.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. It's great to be here and be sitting here in Pebble Beach waiting for the tournament this week. Got the practice rounds going, and I told my caddy I'd be out there in a few, but
yeah,
I'll do the show first. You like this?
That's awesome.
Good, huh? I was in Dallas, Texas last night, and now we're in Pebble Beach.
That is so awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome, Brad. You know, I told you the other day. I said, man, I'm blown away and honored that I'm actually on the phone with Mr. Buddy Garrity.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's where
Buddy Senior. Buddy Senior. You know, it's crazy. We've been off, we stopped shooting nearly 11 years ago. It's hard to believe.
Wow.
And it's shown all this time, still running, now running on Peacock, NBC's Peacock. So
one of the best shows ever.
It lives on, and we all are so happy about it. Have been ever since we did it.
Dude, it's it's honestly one of the best shows ever on television, in my opinion. I love that show.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
It's just it's wholesome. You know what I mean? It's just a wholesome, good show.
It's nice to have that, and growing up, I'm not exactly sure where. Let me get centered.
You're good right there. You're perfect.
Anyway, growing up, it was, we had Andy Griffith.
Yeah.
And, it's the closest thing I could think of where it's a family show, but there's always some sort of little hidden message there and a real slice of life. Although I guess not Andy Griffith, because that was a comedy. I can't say Friday Night Lights is a comedy at all. Although we did have some funny times.
There were some good moments in that show. So I created this show about 3 years ago. And it was one of those moments where I'm like, I just want to give back more to the world and help people get unstuck. And so the theme of this show is about getting unstuck, and it's your life story. Why don't we start with where you were born and raised?
Well, I was born in Lubbock, Texas. For people who don't know, that's the home of Texas Tech University, home of Buddy Holly and Mac Davis. And a lot of the Austin musicians, the Austin sound really a lot of it came out of Lubbock, because we had so many musicians there that eventually went to Austin, sort of created that whole sound with Joe Ely and Jimmy Dale Gilmore, Butch Hancock, and the Maines brothers and all those people. And so that's where we started in Lubbock back in 1954.
Wow.
And
And
my parents had lived there most of their life. My grandparents came from various places, but had lived in Lubbock for a long time. So a lot of family.
It's not a very big town, right? I mean, it
was 150,000 in those days, back in the 50s, 100,000. Now it's about 300, I think, when school's in session, because it's a big school. I think Tech now has 50, 60,000 students.
Wow.
So it's not so small.
Yeah. Yeah, that's big.
They call it the hub of the plains because it's the largest thing within 300 miles. It's really the closest town to Dallas Fort Worth of its size.
Wow.
Just below Amarillo, Texas.
Okay.
So Lubbock got Texas Tech, and Amarillo got I-40.
We were lucky. I've been through Amarillo. I've never been. I remember seeing the Cadillac something
Cadillac
Graveyard or
Ranch. Yeah,
yeah, is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. With all the cars sticking up out of the ground.
Cadillacs,
Yeah.
and nowadays covered in graffiti.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That guy
I
was an
actually
artist.
had somebody painted my name on one of those cars and videoed it and sent it to me.
There you go. By now, it's probably been painted over with somebody else's name.
Right.
I think it changes every day. Or I don't know. I haven't been there in so long. I don't know if they keep people from doing it now or it's still free reign.
I know.
Free graffiti on the high plains.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So is that so? Well, I already know you didn't grow up your whole childhood in Lubbock. So you were born in Lubbock. How long did you stay there before you moved?
Well, we were. My dad was in the service. He was in the college and then at Tech and played basketball, and then he joined the Army, and we moved to Fukuoka, Japan when I was just a little fellow, when I was 3 and or 3, nearly 3, and lived there for a few years and came back when I was 6. And so my mom couldn't stand for my dad went over there first, and my mom couldn't stand the fact that, you know, they'd only been married a short time. My parents were 19 and 20 when I was born. So my mom couldn't stand it. So she and I flew over to Japan and stayed there while my dad did his tour.
Wow.
In Japan, and had a lot to do with just after the Korean War. So
yeah.
That's what happened with us.
So how long were you in Japan?
About 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were just real young then when you went.
Yeah, you know, I was learning English at the same time I was learning Japanese because I was really the only little American boy in the village, and my little friends next door were, of course, Japanese fellows, and so I was sort of learning Japanese at the same time I was learning English, and did know how to speak, you know, as much as a 5 or 6 year old could speak in those days, but of course lost it after. I had no idea how quick it took me, but there was a little song that I knew for years, and eventually I wrote it down. Thank goodness I wrote it down because I wouldn't be able to remember it now. But sometimes when I'm in a sushi restaurant, I will, you sing it to, you know, if it's an older Japanese person, like somebody older than 50, I'll sing that song, and how could you know that? How would you know that song? So I still have a little fun with my Japanese, not much.
You're like, I learned it when I was 3 and never forgot it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I read a story about you and was it a monkey in Japan?
Yeah. His name was
talk
Nico.
About that,
we have some home movies. You know, my dad got the cool camera, the 8mm camera in those days. You know, you could buy really good equipment and really good products in Japan for very little price. And so he got one of those cool little 8mm cameras. And there's a film where Miko lived in a tree in the front yard. And my mom would let me go out in the front yard, and all the little Japanese villagers would come around our house and line the fence, you know, small fence, and watch me in the backyard, watch the little American boy playing with his pet monkey.
So you, now was it so it was a pet?
Yeah, he was a pet.
And he lived in a tree.
He didn't run away. He was on a chain.
Oh, okay.
And he wasn't a chimpanzee, and he wasn't a spider monkey. He was I can't even remember what kind he was. I should look that up. I don't even know what kind of monkey he was, but
wow.
We have it in our little 8mm home movies from 1956, 1957. Yeah.
Wow.
Fun times. I don't remember, of course. These are stories from my parents, but
but you played with the monkey in the front yard, and the
little Japanese villagers would stand at the fence and watch this. I mean, first of all, they're looking at a little American boy, which they'd never seen, and playing with the monkey. And you know, I think maybe that's what started me. You know, wanting to be a performer, wanting to entertain people, and maybe the bottom line, you know, make people laugh, and because they laughed, you know, entertaining. My mom said entertaining the little Japanese villagers every day was my fun thing. So
Wow.
When we started.
That is so cool, man. So you went, and you were only there, you said, for a few years.
Yeah, just about 3 years.
Okay. And you came back to Lubbock?
Mm-hmm. Came back to Lubbock and
Am I saying that
stayed
wrong?
there.
Lubbock?
Stayed there for a long time.
It's Lubbock. I'm saying it right, correct?
Yeah, it's Lubbock.
Lubbock.
People say Lubbock. It's not. It's Bock. Lubbock.
Lubbock.
Yeah.
Lubbock.
Yeah.
Lubbock. Okay, got it. So you came back to Lubbock, and you is that where you finished went to high school? And
No. Actually, I went through junior high there and did all the typical things we did back in those days. It was really pretty much a Leave It to Beaver life. For those of you who know what Leave It to Beaver was,
I do.
We were the same age, as a matter of fact, as the Beav, and
Wow.
we always thought the Beav. If we'd have known the Beav, we'd have probably made fun of him. But we were ruthless. We were bad, and I was probably the worst one, to tell you the truth. What a bad bully! I was a bad kid. Somewhat. But anyway, the time was fantastic because you could ride your bike everywhere, and you could play all the sports in those days. So we did. We could do pretty much everything we wanted to do. We could go to the sand dunes and sand surf. A lot of people hadn't heard of that, but it's about
what is that?
Away in a little town called Monahans, and they had huge sand dunes there. And we would literally go there, and they had these sand surfing boards, and it was so hot, you'd have to wear your sneakers, and we called them tennis shoes. You'd wear your tennis shoes and you'd get on these boards and try not to fall because the sand was so hot. But it was just it was a great time growing up. We pretty much had it all. We had, big time Division I sports with Texas Tech there. And so we got to do everything, really. People don't even realize this. In those days, my dad started the cable company in Lubbock TV Cable in 1966, I believe, or 67. And we had 25 to 30 stations in the late 60s in Lubbock, Texas. So we were very lucky. We were blessed to have it all, really. It was a test market. In those days, the advertising age was beginning, and Indianapolis was the northern test market, and Lubbock was the southern test market for middle America. If you can get these conservative people to buy the products, then they're going to sell in the big cities. So lots of times we got all of those cool things, Beetle wigs and Beetle boots and Madras shirts, and some of you remember those things.
I remember the day that MTV came out. I remember that day when it was actually a decent thing to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
But my friends would freak because we'd ride our little bikes up to my dad's office, and he gave me the key, and we'd have 25 televisions on with different stations, all sports, all movies, all news, all weather. And then we got the big stations out of Chicago. We got WGN, and we got the big stations out of Dallas, Fort Worth, and an LA station, a New York station. It was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was it. So you did not go to high school there, though?
No, I left after 9th grade. I thought it was the end of the year, world. I'm leaving all my friends. I'm leaving sports. And my dad said, no, we're moving to this cool little community outside Dallas, which is Plano, Texas.
Okay.
So they've got a great football team, and ended up being that wonderful thing. I moved there, and he said, you can make this bad or you can make it good. So we went there with a positive attitude, met a whole new group of people, fell in love with them, fell in love with the small city, small country town hooked to the big city, to Dallas, 20 miles away. So we had the best of both worlds. And
how do you see that comment?
Little Las Vegas to get, hi, Colleen. Are you kidding to Marcia? Anyway, there was a Marcia Copenhagen. Maybe her name.
She's from Colleen. I don't know her maiden name. She's a good friend of mine, but she lives down. I think she used to live in Lubbock, and now she's down near. I don't know, San Antonio. I think, I'm not sure.
Well, we in college. Yeah, you went to we called it the Strip, and it was truly a little strip of Las Vegas neon right out there in the middle of the country, surrounded by cotton fields, and that's where you had to go buy your beer. And that was there until just recently. I think Lubbock only became completely wet it was sometime within the last decade, I believe.
Wow.
So for many years, that's just where you went. Now you could go into a bar or someplace and have a drink or a beer, but you couldn't buy a package. Unless
Wow.
you went out to the Strip. And now it's sad. You just go there and there's all these cool little buildings and there's no more neon.
No more neon.
It's a distant memory.
So you ended up in Plano for high school, but you ended up going back to college.
Yes. We were lucky. You know, I came to Plano and we won the state championship. You know, my dad was like, this is a good football program. And then I was lucky enough to be on the state championship team.
Wow.
Didn't get to play. I tore up my knee, so I wasn't playing, but I was on the sidelines on my crutches and jumped pretty high. We barely won that game, but then went back to Tech, to Lubbock, and still had a lot of friends and family there. So I chose that as my college. And by then I was, heavily invested in theater and choir. Since I was not going to be an athlete, obviously, not talented enough and really not the thing I should do. I already pretty well knew that that's what I wanted to do. So I went into the theater, and I was lucky to be surrounded by great professors and a tremendous class of people. I actually stayed in Lubbock for many years, even after school, and did a lot of things there, involving theater and television production and everything I could do. I got my feet as wet as I could before I came to Dallas, to the bigger city, not the big city. John Hausman,
it's a huge. Dallas is huge.
Yeah, it is. Dallas is big.
It's massive.
Yeah.
So you went to, do most actors go to college to study theater and stuff, or?
Well, I wouldn't say most, especially these days.
Yeah.
But in those days, it just seemed like the thing to do. And it just seemed like that most of the actors in those days that we looked up to, and even the film and television people, all seemed to have a background. And plus, I really didn't know that much about film or television at the time. And so what I loved was plays, because I'd done musicals in high school. I played the lead in The Music Man, and I played Little Abner. And, I did a lot of plays and musicals in high school, and was in the choir. We performed all over the United States, and we had a traveling group from our church. And so then going into college, doing plays was what we expected that we should do, and being an actor. And I was cast in the first play my freshman year, and that pretty well sealed the deal. I really loved it.
And that's where, so was there, excuse me, was there a moment where you were like, okay, I got to be on TV?
Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah. Although I thought of movies, I think, first, because in those days, TV was, movies were what you want to be a movie actor. TV actors, we thought, of course, we didn't know, but Dawn Wells, who was Mary Ann on Gilligan's Island, came and spoke to us. And at that time, she was doing Gilligan's Island, or it had just completed, one or the other, but we knew who she was, and she told us all about television and her background in theater, and you guys can do it, and gave us the rah-rah. And we had a couple of other people come that were big names. Like I said, John Hausman came and told us, and he was the one that told us, we were little Texas Tech people out there in Lubbock, and he says, it may be not such a great idea for you to go straight to New York or LA, but go to a regional theater first, go to a regional area, which is why a lot of us came to Dallas and went to different places like that.
Wow. My wife was Nellie Forbush in high school and Velma Kelly in college. I don't even know what that means.
That's somebody though.
It's
Jill Walls.
That's my wife. Yeah, she's watching, and she said I know she studied theater and stuff in college. So, but so you went through all this in college, and you obviously, did you get to meet Dawn Wells? Did you get to?
Yeah. We had the little question and answer afterwards in the green room. And so she met us all, and she was, of course, gorgeous. And but we really had a serious teacher. The guy who started the theater in Lubbock had come out of a prisoner of war camp in World War II, a German prisoner of war camp, and he was a very special man. And
Wow.
I don't think the man ever slept, but he was my first, well, I had a great teacher, couple of great teachers in high school, Margaret Robinson and Dick Winters, and then having Mr. Schultz, Ron Schultz at Tech was insane. He was a special man, and he instilled in all of us the magic of the theater. Did you that we had as well? And we had a lab theater too.
So in high school, when you're in theater and did you get picked on for being in theater? No.
And because the biggest, baddest guy that played middle linebacker for our football team was also in choir and theater. So I could easily do it. It's no problem. It's like, okay, you want to say, okay, go say that to Travis.
Right.
Yeah,
he'll whoop you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Wow, that's because I don't remember theater in my high school for some reason. I don't remember it. It was probably there. I don't remember. Yeah. I had other things on my mind back then. But so you graduated. Did you graduate from Texas Tech?
Yes,
then?
I graduated from Tech, and
okay.
My degree was in acting and kind of directing. We did a lot of directing, and in those days it was do it all, and I think that's something maybe that the young people should think about now, because they can. We had a little bit harder time because we certainly didn't have any, our video cameras were bigger than the studio I'm in right now.
Right.
So having the handheld that everybody has now on their phone, and you do it yourself, and that's what we did, and starting off in a very small pond, producing and directing and doing just everything I could. I was making commercials and doing plays, and I was the executive director of the Lubbock Theater Center for a time.
Wow.
And so we brought some stars who had been at Texas Tech and were current movie stars and television stars at the time back to help promote and do plays. And I opened up my own little talent agency and got a lot of my buddies to help me do commercials and make little films. And so a lot of on-hand experience in those days, just trying things when we really didn't know what we were doing, but we knew we had to learn these things and do these things. So Lubbock was a great place to practice that and practice it in a practical way. And then when I moved to Dallas, it wasn't quite as daunting because I'd already experienced a lot of things in producing, directing, and acting. So,
but how did you make money? Did you make money?
You didn't. Well, we made a little bit. We certainly didn't make much in Lubbock. They paid me a salary to be the director of the theater center.
Okay. Yeah.
And I opened.
But it wasn't much.
A little cabaret theater. I opened and we did Godspell at the Hilton, and created our own little theater there, and they paid us because we sold tickets. And then the first professional acting job I ever had was with a friend of mine who's in New York now. She's been an actress ever since. Yeah. And she and I did I Do, which is a 2-person play, a musical.
Yeah.
And we did it at the Hayloft Dinner Theater. In those days, there were a lot of dinner theaters all over the country.
Yeah.
And I remember my first acting paycheck, when I was still in my early 20s. I guess I was 21. It was $250 a week. And
wow.
We thought that was great.
Yeah.
It was. Plus we got a free dinner, so that was cool.
Well, back then that's not, $250 a week back then is probably like.
Back then, what do you mean by back then?
Hey, I'm from back then too, man. So you're not that much older than me. So,
yeah.
But I remember out of high school working at the Honda factory building cars and making $600 in a week, and that was 30 years ago, and I was rich.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
It really was,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
So when I say back then, $250 a week, really, especially doing what you love to do.
Yeah, and that's what we thought. Was it hard to be in a 300-seat dinner theater and play to 6 people? Yes. And we did. We had a performance and we did the show for 6 people.
Wow.
It was a weeknight, and
Yeah.
we usually did pretty good on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But
so you finally you get out of Lubbock and you head to Dallas, and that's when Hollywood called and said, "Get out here. We've been waiting on a guy like you."
immediately, the minute I moved to Dallas, that was it. I got an agent. The next thing you know, no, it was a few years here in the regional area, but a lot of us were very lucky at the time to live here and go out. And in those days, you didn't do an audition on tape like we do now, or Zoom interviews or anything like that. What we did was drive. So many times we would drive out of Dallas to New Orleans or to Denver or to Oklahoma or to, Louisiana, New Mexico, a lot in Santa Fe in those days. Wow. And we would literally drive hundreds of miles for the audition. For a small role, but it didn't matter. It was speaking role. And we're Screen Actors Guild actors. So we're union jobs. So they paid well. So we would drive all the way and drive back. And sometimes they'd say, "Oh, well, we need you for a callback tomorrow." If we were smart enough and we stayed there. If not, we drove all the way back.
Oh my gosh.
Well, there were many, many years, a couple of decades almost of driving to auditions from Dallas. And we had auditions here too. We had Dallas here. That show shot for a long time, and a lot of us got our start on Dallas on TV.
Wow. And that's where that was your first TV show, was Dallas.
That was my first TV show, was Dallas.
All right. So who shot JR?
Who shot? That was later.
I know. Remember. He said, "I don't remember." I remember.
I didn't actually watch the show. Did I say that? I did. I watched every episode of Dallas.
Yeah, right. So that was your first, and so when you got that call, how did that feel? Like I can't even imagine how it must have felt. Like, holy crap, I'm going to the.
Yeah, it was it was probably all of that time, all of those years, all those years of high school and college were probably, consummated in that moment. It's like, it's real now. I'm a real actor. They're going to give me real money. And I've got 2 lines, and I literally was, there's a little place in Dallas called the Hot Biscuit Cafe. I don't know if it's still there, but that's where they were shooting that day. And I was a truck driver at the truck stop or at the cafe. And my lines were, "Hey, what does it take to get a cup of coffee around here?" And we did it. We went through makeup and all the works, and they send you the thing, and you learn your process, and they take you on the set, and you rehearse, and then they shoot it and blah. And I was out of there by noon, and I made $400. That's what the SAG scale was for a player in those days. And if you had any speaking lines at all, then you got that nice number.
Yeah.
And so that was the beginning. And I went, I really like this, because in the early 80s, $400 for half a day's work was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And especially when I look at it now, and I'm still getting checks from that show. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
That's insane. That was was that the 70s then?
No, that was early 80s.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. And you stayed in Dallas? Like you didn't end up moving to LA?
No, I went out to LA for a brief time in the late 80s, and then came back. So I've really been lucky. I've been fortunate, and really what I would say is I've been blessed. I mean, God's been good to me and gave me a chance to branch out from here. And I was just able to live here and work in Louisiana, New Mexico, like I said, go to Colorado and Oklahoma and even to California from here. And it was just, it was pretty much a stroke of luck that I got to stay here, and that I had great agents here and people here who helped me. And my wife, who has been supportive all this time, who is really the reason for me being here, because she is a fantastic actor. She's an actor, and women are actors too. And
you're not allowed to say actress?
Well, actor's better.
Is it? Okay.
And yeah, and so the thing is that, you know, she sort of sacrificed what she had was a great career. I mean, she played for a long time, you know, 15, 20 years after we got out of college. We got married in college.
Yeah.
And so she played, and then eventually went to work in the workforce, learned a lot of computer skills, and really helped us through the lean times when I was out there, you know, moving and grooving, and she was going to work doing the freeway thing. And she's very special.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, y'all been married for a long time, huh?
I think this will be 44 years next month.
Wow. Congratulations, dude. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Especially like our buddy Glenn Morshower, he's been married 42 years. They just celebrated. And it's like, dude, as an actor, for a woman to stick by you through all that.
She's obviously pretty open-minded. Right?
Yeah. But I mean, so because I know that there's some really, really tough times that you go through to get to where you've gotten to. You've had a great career. I know that. Everybody watching knows that, unless they've been living under a rock. But you know, you've had an amazing career in television and films, and but I know how that goes, because it's like owning a business, man. It's like 20 years of starvation, and then finally something hits. It's
exactly. That's exactly
like,
what it was. Yeah. And you know, all the way along, excuse me, we were lucky enough. I say we, being a bunch of friends of mine who were also pursuing acting, and you know, we had a lot of side jobs in the entertainment business. You know, I worked on concerts and festivals, and you know, every kind of outdoor event, indoor theater event, as a stagehand, as a builder. You know, we learned all the things in college. I wasn't much of a technical guy, but I did it, and that supplemented while we went along, you know, learning our craft and doing what we could do to break through.
Did you ever do anything in New York or Broadway? Anything?
No, but that's a future goal. I have done a play that traveled all over the world, and we were in the Schubert Theater in New Haven, and my wife did the same play in New York. We didn't have to do that one in New York, but we were close. And so, yeah, one of my dreams, I think, would definitely be to do a play in New York on Broadway or off Broadway.
A buddy of mine was played Phantom of the Opera. He was the Phantom for 3 years. Yeah. And he was on the show, actually. I have to, but yeah, it seems like, again, it's no different than acting. Like, it takes a lot of no's to get to a yes.
Yes. And I was fortunate a couple of years ago to go back on stage. I had not been on stage in 15 years.
Wow.
And I was called by the big theater here, the Professional Equity Theater here in Dallas. It's been here forever. Built originally by Frank Lloyd Wright, the only theater he ever designed. And they've opened a new one downtown in the Arts District. But they called me out of the blue and asked me if I wanted to be Scrooge in A Christmas Carol. And tell you the truth, Ken, it's probably it's the greatest fun and time I've ever had, because it'd been so long since I'd been on stage and in front of that live audience. And this is a built-in, you know, it's a Christmas Carol, so everybody loves it. And I get to play Scrooge, and boy, I was rusty, and I was surrounded by great theater actors who do it all the time. So I was a bit behind, but eventually things came through, and I was so scared. I'm more scared than ever in front of a camera, I think.
Really?
And and then, you know, once it got rolling, we did 50 performances in 30 days. So
wow.
I lived that show for months, and it was the greatest Christmas present I've ever been given. Probably the best Christmas present I ever got to give to my family. A lot of my family had never even seen me on stage. So,
and it's a lot different.
Friends come back and see me, so that was really special.
it's a lot different doing something live than like, because if you screw up on camera, you just do another take, right?
That's correct.
And,
You hope they give you another take.
right.
You know, just go, this isn't going to work. We'll just cut it later. Let him out of here.
Oh, have you had moments like that where you screwed up on a take and they're like, no, dude, we're done. That was the last take.
I don't remember if I have, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't anyway, because I would have immediately forgotten it and blanked it out.
Right.
That away.
Yeah, right. So you did. Now, how many episodes of Dallas did you do? Just the one, or
no? I did 3 episodes over the years.
Okay.
A different character, you know, smaller roles, and
Yeah.
no small actors. I mean, no small roles, just small actors. So
Yeah,
we'll say
right.
Hello, Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
So you what came next? I know you did. Did I read that
the really cool thing that happened was Silverado happened, you know, which was a huge Hollywood picture.
Yeah.
And we went to Santa Fe to audition for that, and got that role. And then got to, you know, work with Costner and Kevin Kline and Scott Glenn and Jeff Goldblum and Brian Dennehy and that whole cast of characters who, you know, were already great, accomplished actors, but just in the beginning of a lot of them's career, especially Costner and some of those people.
Yeah.
And so got to work with big professionals. Lawrence Kasdan was a big time director, and got to go to Santa Fe during Christmas, take my wife, and first time we had not been with our family at Christmas time, but spent a snowy, gorgeous Santa Fe Christmas, and worked on Silverado. Was like 2 weeks. And man, that was even better than that $400 a day deal. Weekly contract, I think it was like $1,800 a week, which we thought that was great.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, we were young in our late 20s, and it just we just gotten our first American Express card. And Ken, when you are 28 and you have your first American Express card, do not buy Christmas presents in Santa Fe, New Mexico for your entire family. You know, our bill was thousands. You know, what did we do? I mean, they got nice Christmas presents, but we paid for it for a year.
Oh my Lord. Yeah. And American Express likes all of it.
Oh yeah.
Month.
Oh yeah. It was rugged, but we had a beautiful Christmas.
Wow. You know, Santa Fe, I've been to Santa Fe. It's one of the most amazing little towns in the entire country.
Land of enchantment.
It's unreal. Have you been to the Laredo Chapel?
Oh yes.
And saw the freestanding?
Oh yes.
It's incredible.
It really is.
It's a spiritual experience. Everybody should go to Santa Fe, and all the art galleries in the town square. It's an amazing little town.
It's just the most peaceful, gentle. There's just a spirit there that's like
nothing
else.
I agree.
Like no place else. I mean, I've been to a lot of places in New Mexico, and it's similar, and that's why they call it the land of enchantment. But Santa Fe is special.
Yeah, it really, it's incredible. So you did Silverado. Now I know that as you start doing more and more and more, you end up, your resume grows. And back then IMDb.com wasn't really much of a thing.
No such thing.
Yeah. And so, but people start taking you more serious. They start looking at you more, I would imagine. Your agent now has something to say, hey, he did this.
It's not local. It's not local commercial. It's It's not theater. You know, this is an actual big time Hollywood, you know, production.
Yeah.
And so that did help, having Dallas, the largest television show in the world at the time, by far.
Yeah.
MASH was close, or maybe a little bit more, but and then Silverado was a huge picture. So it was really nice to have those on the resume in the beginning. No doubt.
Yeah.
No
So
doubt.
then you ended up getting into some more. I know you did CSI Miami. How many episodes you do with CSI Miami?
I don't remember for sure, Ken. About 6, I think.
My
A few times.
Brad, my company name is CSI,
Oh,
and which stands for Client Solution Innovations. The reason I named it CSI is because of CSI Miami.
oh, really?
I swear.
That's
A buddy
awesome.
and I used to watch CSI Miami after my divorce. We'd hang out and just watch CSI Miami because there were a lot of girls in bikinis.
Yeah,
and,
beautifully shot.
and so when I started my company, I'm like, you know what? I'll just name it CSI. And yeah, so
And
but
good idea, obviously.
yeah.
Did you know? I mean, they shot the first season or 2 in Miami, but after that, it was all shot in LA.
Really?
Yes, for all the last 10 years, or would the show run 13 years or something?
Yeah, it's ran for a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
LA, I did not know that. I
Yes,
thought it was
you
always
know,
in
they
Miami.
could make it look like Miami, and they had all the original Miami shots. So
Oh
I
yeah.
actually shot all of my stuff in LA.
Did you really? Wow. That's incredible. So you you look, my buddy Justin Benton loves your background. He says number 8 approach shot at Pebble Beach. Yeah. Wow.
It is true. I played Pebble Beach back before it was $600 and you had to stay in the hotel, or it may be more than that now. It's probably $700 or $800 per round. But I remember we were flabbergasted back in the 80s. I only played it one time, but it was $140, and we thought that was insane.
And now it's way more.
Yeah, way.
Wow. So
there's a reason for it, as you can see.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. So you ended up eventually, I don't know, I'm sure there were a lot of other things in between, but at some point, how did Friday Night Lights, which I know that's kind of where you really really launched your career, which I know that I that's maybe putting it the wrong way, but that's where you became, I mean, you're best known for that, I think.
Yes. Yeah. You know, and it's never about, at least for me, it wasn't really about becoming famous or wanting.
Right.
It was just that I loved to be an actor, and
yeah,
I loved that thing about making people laugh, being in front of people, and of course making them cry, whatever it took. So, Friday Night Lights was different, and the picture, Peter cast me in the film, and I got a really good taste of what it's like. Although the role, of course, wasn't huge in the film, but it was important to be there. And then Peter, let me play Buddy, and it grew. We were on the air for 5 years, and that thing, it's not fame, but it's recognizable. And, people in the industry knew who I was. I mean, we're character actors. They know those guys. Those are those Texas guys, those Southern guys, those cowboy guys, those play those roles. They knew who we were in the business. But yeah, the world finds out who you are when millions of people watch you every week.
Yeah.
And of course, it's been running, ever since. I mean, we've been stopped shooting 11 years ago, and we've never been off the air. We've been playing somewhere, and that includes everywhere, all over the whole world. I've since been lucky enough to go lots of different places, even in Paris, France. People walk down the street and they say, "Hi, buddy." It's pretty crazy.
It's that, dude, that has to be insane. So when you go through an airport, do you get stopped?
Oh yeah.
I'm sure.
Now, a little less right now that I'm sporting this beard and long hair. But you know what? With the nose, and the minute I open my mouth and speak, they know immediately. So I can't hide. It's Buddy, and I got no problem with that. It was a dream come true. And at the time, I got to tell you, Ken, everybody on the show, cast and crew, all feel the same way. We all know that, and we knew it when we were shooting it. I mean, in the very beginning, it was a bit tenuous, but we knew coming on that that we had something special. You know, we had lightning in a bottle. We really did. And even though the ratings weren't enough in the beginning to make the show as popular as it needed to be, you know, we were only getting what, 8 million people a week in those days. Now would be incredible numbers.
Yeah, right.
They wanted 13 million to keep us on, which
Oh
is
my.
why DirecTV came in. This is a story. DirecTV came in, saved the show. They split the
Wow.
cost with NBC. So the show stayed on, and we were DirecTV was the first distributor to show original programming. And now that's all there is. I mean, look at Netflix. You know, all of the giant distributors now produce their own shows, but Netflix was the first. And if I'm not mistaken, we were the first show.
Wow.
And so they saved us. And now
DirecTV saved your show.
Saved our show. They did.
Wow.
And that was the beginning of DirecTV. People didn't even really.
That was in 1994.
That wasn't even that long ago.
That would have been 94, right? 94.
No, that's 2000. No, it's 21. It was 2010.
Wow.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yes, the late 2000s is when all of that happened.
Gee, Christmas. Wow.
Yeah.
So from there, I mean, at that point, I mean, you did the show for 5 years. I'm sure that throughout those years, those 5 years, your recognition, I'm sure, went through the roof. When you're doing a show like that, are you able to go off and do movies also? Like,
you can, you know, when we had those many months when we're there, and you can't do anything in that time because you're under contract.
Right.
But in those 3 or 4 months that you're not there, you can, which many of us did, go and do a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, that can happen. Yeah.
So what, I want to show a clip that, you've got a movie coming out Friday.
This Friday.
The 12th.
It's a big picture.
Yeah.
It's a small picture and it's big. It's, you know, Robin Wright, and
yeah,
she is special. I mean, you know, I fell in love with her in Princess Bride. And then of course she was Jenny in Forrest Gump. And then to get to work with her last year and do this picture up in Canada was very special. And she directed it, starred in it, and she picked me. So I was, again, blessed from Canada.
Wow.
Out of the clear blue sky, they called. It was very cool. And
I've watched this trailer a few times. I'd like to show it. You're okay with me showing it, right?
Absolutely. I think we're okay showing it. It's all over everywhere. It's all over the internet. It's all over everywhere. So it's on television. She's doing interviews. I think she's even in the list for maybe being nominated for an Oscar, which strangely enough, she's never been nominated, I don't think.
It looks intense. The name of the film is Land, just Land. Yep. And I'm like, is there a subtitle or nope?
It is just beautiful. I think that's why. I think there's another reason too that you'll see.
Yeah. Well, here, let's show the trailer real quick and we'll come back here in a second. Check this out, you guys. It's amazing.
Yeah. I'm here because I choose to be.
Edie, how are you feeling right now? What are you feeling?
That it's really difficult to be around people because they just want me to be better.
So you're not able to share what you're feeling with other people?
It's pretty country, ain't it? Tribal lands. It's not a good idea to be out here without a vehicle.
I'll be fine.
You said your family was from the city.
How did you find me?
You were in my path.
You know, one might wonder how someone like you came to be in this place. I'm not running from anyone. I'm not hiding. I'm here because I choose to be.
If it's all right, I will teach you how to trap. And in the fall, to hunt. And then you won't see me anymore.
Can we agree that you not bring any news of life elsewhere?
What if aliens land here?
Do you have family?
My wife and my daughter were killed in a car accident.
You ever get lonely out here?
I know I'd be more lonely there than here.
My niece proved this from my hermit friend who lives in the mountains.
Tell me about your family.
Have you thought about what you want your life to be now?
Man, that looks like a great film.
I can't wait. I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen
I've
it
seen
yet?
what you saw just now.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
I was glad to see I was in the trailer. It means I didn't get cut out of the picture.
I recognized your voice immediately. Of
Oh
course.
yeah, it gives it away every time.
Yeah. Wow. It looks really intense.
Yeah, we shot that up in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada. There, near
Wow.
Banff, in gorgeous mountains,
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. How long were you up there?
Well, I went up there for about 10 days, and then I came back, and then I went back for about 10 more days. So 2 trips up there.
Yeah.
I love Calgary. It sort of reminded me of Fort Worth, Texas. You know, it's big city, but small, very, very small, big, beautiful.
Yeah.
oil business, oil and gas business, a lot of ranchers, a lot of cowboys,
Yeah.
and friendly, very friendly, youthful city. Everybody working, everybody friendly. I really love my time there in Calgary.
So what's your, I mean, to date, okay, hold it. Outside of Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
What's your favorite acting role been?
I'm sitting here looking at a list of just notes I had in case you stumped me. I think you just did it. You just stumped me. It's impossible to even start. I mean, you know, I got a couple of actor stories if you want to hear them.
Yeah, love to.
You know, one of the things I could tell you that I've been blessed to have worked with so many people, and I could name drop pages here, which would be ridiculous. But Paul Newman taught me something very, very young. One of the first pictures I did was a picture that he did with when Lolita Davidovich first started. It was a picture called Blaze, where he played the true story of Huey P. Long, who was governor of Louisiana. And Huey would come to New Orleans, or he lived in New Orleans, and he would go to this famous strip club, and the owner of the strip club would provide him with women. This governor, this very flashy governor.
Wow.
And he would provide him with women. And so this was my scene. I was the owner of this nightclub in Blaze, and the governor would bring me a sack of fresh vegetables from his garden, and I would turn him on to my newest girl. And so this was the scene, and it was out in front of the nightclub there on Bourbon Street. And I'm working with Paul Newman, who, you know, was one of the biggest movie stars on the planet of all time at that time. And
Yeah.
I was starstruck, of course, and very nervous because it was early on in my career. And we did the scene, and we did a bunch of takes, and, you know, and it was just about time for lunch. It was 3 a.m. We're shooting night shots, of course. And So we're going to have an hour lunch, but we had to finish this scene before the sun came up at 6 or 6:30. Excuse me. And so we did the scene, and then we didn't quite get it, and I messed up my lines, and so did he. And then we're going to have to shoot it after lunch. And so went to lunch, and I sat by myself, and I worried that I wasn't perfect and I didn't get it on the first take.
Right.
I can't believe I screwed up with Paul Newman, and I can't believe he screwed up. And I just thought about it all during lunch, and I came back from lunch and we started the scene again. And I mentioned that to him. I said, Mr. Newman, I'm really sorry about it. Before lunch. I screwed up my lines, and you screwed up your lines, and we should have got that. And he said, what? And I said, well, before lunch when we were doing it, he goes, we're doing the scene right now, Brad. You need to be thinking about right now. What are you thinking about that for? That's the director's problem. And so you need to be where we are right now. Let's do this.
Wow.
And it just, of course, it scared me to death, but it also made me understand. And I've thought about it ever since. And that's just that whole thing that we do. And that's being in the moment. That's being right now. And that's what it's got to be. And it's that process too. I always thought it was so cool when they go, oh, that's great, Brad. You got it in the first take. I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Get it in the first take, nail it, and go on, move on. No. And that's not really what it is at all. It's the process, because through the process of mistakes and trying different things and getting to the core of listening, which is what Robert Duvall told me one time. He said, actors don't listen. You sit there and you think about your lines. You're not listening. Something happens when you listen to the other character. It happens right here.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And then your lines are already in there, so they come out properly. So the greatest lesson probably early in my career came from Paul Newman. So, and I won't say that was the most fun show of all time, because having worked with, it's just amazing when I look at, and I just wrote some notes down here, and I've been very fortunate to work with tremendous people. And recently, with Amy Poehler and Julia Louis-Dreyfus on Veep, and just incredible women, incredible leaders, and then get, with Land, with Robin. I mean, to work with these incredible actors and it's about the process. There's no doubt about it.
So you when you're working with Paul Newman or Kevin Costner, I mean, I know, just because I'm so tight with Glenn, I know a lot now, a whole lot more than I did know. But it's amazing what people actually don't know about the business and how it works. But so the team,
and what we don't know. I mean,
yeah, right.
We're in the business forever, and we don't know it until now.
Right. But the camera's not always rolling. In fact, it's not rolling very much at all for each individual actor. It's their short little windows that you're there filming. So in the off time, are you hanging out with Paul Newman and having a beer somewhere?
Yeah, sometimes.
Really?
In fact, a lot of the time. In fact, during that show, we're outside the club, so there's a pool table in there. And of course, Paul Newman loved to play pool.
Yeah.
And I played a lot in those days because I'd worked in a lot of clubs and bars and shot a lot of pool.
Yeah.
And I can make some great shots, but I'm horrible because I miss easy shots. And so in between takes, we were in there shooting pool, and I couldn't believe he was drinking beer at work, which I can tell you right now, that's happened before now.
Right.
Baby actor wasn't drinking any beer.
Right.
And so I was amazed that he was drinking beer, but he and I were having some pretty good games of pool, and I would miss an easy shot. And he truly thought that we were playing for $1, $1 a game. And he truly thought I was trying to hustle him because I would miss these easy shots, because he'd see me make a really good shot. He thought, well, this guy's a good player. Well,
yeah.
I'm not.
Right.
I just make some good shots.
Right.
But he thought I was hustling him. The hustler thought I was hustling him. He didn't ever believe me. he thought that was to the end of the night. He still thought I was hustling him.
That is hilarious.
I'm just that bad. It's simple.
I just get lucky on some of those shots.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
So yeah, you do. And you know,
wow.
All sorts of things. Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights, of course, the coach, he and I, you know, spent lots of time together over 5 years and still play golf. We're still buddies as all of us are on Friday Night Lights, the crew and the cast and the people of Dillon, you know, which were the people of Austin. And they came back year after year, and they were that perfect backdrop because we'd see them and they were our friends. So it felt like we had this community that was Dillon. It felt real in that way. Yeah. We all knew each other, and everybody's careers, cast and crew, have blossomed because of that. And so there is a reality that's, especially on film and television, that you get to be with your castmates and crew members and really learn about each other's families and about each other off camera.
Absolutely amazing, man.
Yeah.
Any big projects coming up?
Yeah. You know, I got a couple I can't really talk about. Yeah. One of them is going to shoot in Iceland, which has been in the works for a while. I can't wait to do that. Which is the reason I've got the long hair and beard right now. Been growing that for this role. It's an old man up in the woods. He's kind of a soothsayer, kind of a magical old. I don't know what he is. He's we'll find out. But this girl throughout the picture, the lead, comes to him for advice, and he lives in a little place way up in the mountains by himself. And he gives her all this sage wisdom, and he's sort of a magical character in this picture. So I'm looking forward to going to Iceland, which is I understand from friends that have been there, is a magical place.
I've heard that.
You even have to sign a contract saying you won't disturb the fairies and elves. Serious.
Really?
Have to sign a contract with the government of Iceland for these certain places where they want to shoot, where you can't disturb because the fairies and elves live there. So that should be interesting. And then this other picture that is pending. I don't know if I got it or not, but when I do, I'll certainly let you know, because it'll be the biggest picture in the world next year. Definitely. So that probably gives some people a hint. I hope I get it if you're watching.
Wow, that's incredible, man.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So do you have it, like, if people wanted to follow you, do you have a fan page on Facebook, anything like that?
No, I got a Facebook, Brad Leland, and then I got there's a Friday Night Lights page.
Yeah.
And I did have a website, but it just didn't seem like I was really utilizing it. So it's sort of just sitting there now. There's not anything new on it or special. I probably should do that, get more involved in social media, but I'm doing what little I can. Or I'd like to do a little bit more with social media, but sometimes I kind of wish social media would go away, especially this past year. It's like I'm tired of watching people hate each other.
Oh man,
an insane bunch of stuff in my life.
It
is sad, and people need to get back to. Come on, people. I mean, what is this? What are we doing?
It's crazy,
what's
man.
going on in this country? This is ridiculous. We got over this. We really did. Where they're like recreating something that, we went past this in the 60s.
Yeah.
Why is it coming back? Because everybody has a voice and everybody's looking at everybody else and thinking, oh, that's true. That's true. That's hard to find out what's true out there these days.
I know.
Yeah. Where's that fact checking? Where did you checked those facts? Now, where did you check those?
Right.
ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox.
Right.
That's where you checked them.
Right.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
let's not go there. No, we're not doing it.
Yeah. No. But I agree with you.
We're blessed to be here, and we need to spread good Good news. That's what I want.
Amen, man.
That's what I want to do for the rest of my life, is try to do some good things for people. Maybe get to do some of the things we did while we had Friday Night Lights going. We started a charity there called Beyond the Lights, and we're able to help a lot of people with spinal cord injuries, not just boys in football, but girls as well. You know, we have so many spinal cord injuries and so many injuries in the heart. I did a picture recently about a football coach who didn't know his player had a heart condition, and we lose so many kids every year to sports, and it's really because they just don't have the physical. They don't get the physicals that they need, where the doctors can say, look, I'm sorry, you just really can't do this. Your heart's not meant for this. And then so many other reasons, you know, and
that, by the way, I saw that. What was the name of the movie? Why can't I remember?
The Last Whistle.
Oh yeah. What a great movie, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, we shot that picture in 13 days.
What?
Yeah. The whole picture in 13 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, before knowing Glenn, I probably would have been really shocked. I think most people, I don't know how most people think. I know how I thought. I thought a movie took years to shoot. Like it
can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kubrick would take years.
Yeah.
You know, other people have taken years, and
yeah.
But yeah, you can shoot them quickly now.
That's crazy,
and
man.
People do. There's a lot of great films that are made in a month or less.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Well, Brad, I am beyond grateful that you invested so much time with us and shared your story. And man, I love you. I think you're an amazing dude. And
well, I love you too, Ken. Thanks for having me. And we don't have to jump off. I mean, we got all sorts of stuff we can talk about.
Yeah, well,
I do want to talk about Beyond the Lights is you know, hopefully coming back. But at the same time, we did you know, the Gridiron Heroes still exists, and that's an organization where you know, they help young men who lose the ability to walk and have spinal cord injuries. Sports. Gridiron Heroes is still out there. The Bonacani Fund, Nick Bonacani, who used to play for Miami, his son was injured, and it still goes on. We go to New York and do a charity every year for the Bonacani Fund to cure paralysis. So
wow.
Those charities that still work with athletes, you know, I think people need to give some thought to those. And of course, the American Heart Association, we've been helping them, and they've been helping us with that idea that get it out to all those athletes, boys and girls, who need to make sure they have a good heart check before they get into too many strenuous things. And then another charity I like to mention is that my friend Turk down in Austin has the Nobility Feed the Peace Awards. Feed the Peace Project, and it's been going on for many, many years. And
what is that one about?
Peace. He talked to a lot of Nobel Peace Prize winners, created this organization, and they have built so many schools, so many libraries in Africa to help people who, you know, walk miles for water every day to have schools. And now a lot of these kids who had nothing are coming to America and graduating from college. And it's a very, very special organization.
Wow.
In Austin, and also the Dripping Springs Veterans Hall, which my friends Kyle and Kath Chandler are building, is very, very special, and right there outside of Austin for veterans. So those are the things I've been, you know, sort of helping with here and there where I can, and I'd like to do a whole lot more of that and keep making movies. And so we get to New York on stage and all those cool things.
Let me know how if I can help promote any of those charities, and especially I love helping the kids, man. So, you know, I find it because that the movie you were just talking about, I find it interesting that there's actually kids that you know, have heart conditions that are playing in sports and nobody even knows about it.
Yeah. I mean, they don't, because they don't get a physical that's, you know, inclusive enough to see some of those problems.
That's
especially that cardiomyopathy, where there's just a little thing in your heart, and it just means that you can only exert this much. And if you ever go to that level, it's just quick boom, you're out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot that needs to be learned about that, especially now that we have millions of kids playing every kind of sport, and man, they're good. They're better and better every year, as you can see.
Yeah.
And it's something I really believe in too. I believe teams, being a part of a team, and they say, oh, well, sports, it's not important. It's just as important as any other part of your education, because you really learn what it's like to be on a team. Not that you can't learn that being on the chess team. Yeah. The computer team, of course, same thing. It's being a part of a team, and you don't always win, and you got to learn how to be a gracious loser, and you got to learn how to be a gracious winner. And so it's a team world. It
is.
Marriage is a team thing. Children, the whole bit. It's not an individual sport, this life. Is it?
Dude, nothing truer has been said, man. That is so true. We got to learn to work together.
Yeah.
And it starts with our kids.
With you some more too. I mean, I think there's a lot we can do, and I got more stories to tell you. So maybe I'll come on the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott and some actor named Brad. I got a lot of movie stories that I'd love to tell you.
Yeah,
Glenn and I can have a name dropping session, and we'll talk about I got this list of all these people that I've worked with, and I was like, I looked back at it and I went, oh my gosh. And this one's dead, and this one's dead, and this one's dead.
Wow, really?
This one's grown up, and this one's grown up. When I said, look at Renee Zellweger, her first picture, Jennifer Jason Leigh, one of her first pictures. Jeez. All these people, and I just look at it and I go, oh my gosh, I am 66.
Now, what's
a long time.
But you can also pick up the phone and call a lot of those people, and they'll take your call.
Some of them, yeah.
Which is amazing. And I think that one of the biggest things for me is there's Glenn, and I know some other actors, and y'all are just down to earth. Like
most of them are. I don't think I've met people. A lot of ask me. They go, well, you've done all these shows. Who is an ass? And I think about it, and I can only think of one. And I did this TV show with him early on in Florida. And that's the only show he ever did, because he was an ass. He's out of the business. Now, a lot of people are going to tell me, you just don't know. You just haven't worked with so-and-so. You don't know.
Yeah.
But just about everybody I've ever worked with was a really interesting and good person.
Yeah.
And, when you look at those big names and the people that are the big stars and all of that, they don't get those jobs by not being people.
Right.
And those are people that you like, and they're fun to be around. And
right.
So
but people don't understand another thing, and I have just a tiny sliver of the fame that somebody like you has, but like I get inundated with inbox messages and text messages and emails, and sometimes I don't get recognized walking through an airport. Well, I haven't been in an airport in a while, but like sometimes it's you don't have the bandwidth. You don't have the bandwidth. Somebody might go, well, I saw Tom Cruise one time and he wouldn't even talk to me. If he talked to everybody that wants to talk to him, he'd never have a life.
Yeah.
Or get anything else done.
You should have seen me trying to talk to him when we did that picture here. I spent 3 days with him, and you talk people, oh, Tom Cruise, he's only pretty, back in those days. Oh, he's not that great. I watched him do the same scene on Born on the 4th of July. I saw him do the same scene, at the convention scene where they roll him in, and and then they roll him out. And there's all that big speech and we were Secret Service guys, so I was right there on his shoulder for 3 days, and I watched him do the same lines, the same blocking, Oliver Stone changing it, blah blah blah, for hours and hours for 3 days in a row. And I knew then, and that was young. That was before he's even close to what he's done now.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, this guy is a great actor, and that's what it takes. You have to be able to do that in any weather, under any circumstances. You know, you just forget all of that and immerse yourself in the words, and the character comes to life. So yeah, it's crazy.
It's amazing.
It is
amazing.
It is. So the bottom line is, you know, most of them are really nice people.
Yeah.
And fun to be around.
Yeah. Well, I am incredibly grateful to call you a friend and have you on. I'm going to be in Dallas in April, so hopefully we get to connect and
we will.
Yeah. I'll beat you in a game of pool.
Yeah, you will. Okay. Then we'll play ping pong and you'll beat me in that. Then we'll play golf and I will beat your butt.
You probably are going to get me on the golf course.
Maybe. I did play 5 out of 6 days last week for all my friends.
Wow.
Who hate me and are jealous. I did. I played 5 different golf courses last week in 6 days. That's the most I've played in a long time. I think it's going to hurt my back, and it didn't. I was okay. Wow. And my knee didn't hurt. I had nothing to complain about except the double bogeys and the scores, you know.
Any triple?
Half decent, but
did you get any triple bogeys?
Oh yeah, you get them. You know, I hate them. I hate doubles, and triples are even worse. And usually, pretty much these days, you know, the way we play and the guys I play with, it's you don't write anything down worse than a triple. You know, if you make a 9 or a 10, you made an 8.
Right. Right.
It's like
we stop at the snowman.
Yes. We stop at the snowman. Once it becomes a balloon on a stick, we don't write it down. That's a 9. It's a balloon on a stick.
That is hilarious, man. Well, it sounds like we play similar games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to meet you in person. And Brad, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. And we're going to do some more stuff together. Again, if there's anything I can do to help you or any of these charities in any way, I love to help people promote stuff and anything I can do, man. So yeah.
Everybody go see Land Friday and
definitely
make it good at the box office, and I think it's going to be a good picture.
Is it only releasing in the theaters?
So yeah, at the beginning. I mean, I don't know how long that'll last. Nowadays they have to go to TV pretty quick, especially when our theaters are what, a third or a fourth full or open. I mean, I don't even know. I haven't been to the theater since COVID, not once.
No.
But
are you going Friday?
No, I'm going to go see this at the theater, but we do have a virtual premiere Friday.
Okay.
Which I have no idea how that works, but it's piped into our house and we're somehow involved. I guess maybe tiny little squares of faces or something. I don't know. But virtually a premiere. You virtually walk through your house when you pretend like it's the red carpet.
Wow.
I have white carpet, so.
Oh man, Brad,
hey, buddy,
thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. And if you'll hang on for me, just stay with me. I'm going to end the live stream. But I'd like to chat with you for a second after this. So thank you so much. Everybody go follow Brad on his Facebook page and I'm gonna get him to start using social media.
And this is Red Raiders. This is Texas Tech Red Raiders. Get your guns up. Okay. We got a good basketball team, if you didn't know that. Get your guns up. Dude,
I'm in Ohio. We have good everything.
I know you do. I loved Cleveland this year, buddy. And wow. All the FNL people. I'm going to say it one more time because 2 presidents have said it. You know, people say it every day. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
I love that, man.
There you go.
Brad Leland, everybody, go follow him. Thank you, Brad.
I'm going to go play.
Oh.
Get my clubs.
Right.
You got to bring a cart.
Right. Give me a beer while you're at it. We'll see you guys later. Thanks so much, Brad.